What's up YouTube? This is NickTheSaiyan here, bringing you another video on Star Wars Battlefront 2 Beta. Now, there's something different about this game that you guys will not see during the first one that you are going to see in the second one, the classes. We have Assault, Heavy, Specialist, and last but not least, Officer. Each class has its unique way to be able to bring some life into the second Star Wars Battlefront. Is this Star Wars Battlefront different from the last one? We are going to be able to discuss that in this video as soon as I get over with the classes and what type of abilities carry within those classes. For example, I picked Specialist because Specialist is legitimately one of my favorite classes in the game. How so? Well, particularly I can't fully explain that because considering the fact that it's the beta. The beta is always going to carry like at least a small percentage of stuff that legitimately carries within it. As opposed to the modes like Galactic Conquest, Strike, and what appears to be space battles. Um, is this game gonna have a specific game mode that is similar to Galactic Conquest? We will get to that as soon as I'm done with explaining the classes. Now, as you can see, the Specialist class, which I'm gonna start off first with, considering that is part of the gameplay, is a long rifle class that has its pros and cons. The pros are that you could be able to kill enemies within 1 or 2 shots depending on where you actually hit the reticule. The negatives about this class is that the soldier itself is very weak. There's no way that you could be able to I guess run in the battlefield as opposed to assault and heavy where they take the most damage out of most of the classes. But the benefits are using this class is that it carries a secondary rifle, which is pretty much the E4, which you will remember in the previous Battlefront, except the E4 is not as strong as it was in this Battlefront as it was pertaining to the first one. Each classes have, like I said, a unique way to carry on for itself. For example, the Assault class carries a weapon called the D11, which is pretty much the E11 with a different name. However, the Assault class has its pros and cons too. The Shotgun class. The Shotgun class is basically the secondary rifle towards the Assault class, which is a pro and a con because you really do have to be close up in order for you to be able to get any kills or get any damage out of it. If you are far away, unfortunately, it's like the scatter shot, which if you shoot it from a distance, it's not going to really affect your opponent as much as you would do it close and personal. As opposed to the heavy class is pretty much the go-to in this game. If you prefer heavy weapons, that's something that you would literally want to bring towards the battlefield. As opposed to the heavy class has what appears to be a heavy artillery weapon called the GWL-55, which the GWL-55 is a heavy weapon. Takes a lot of damage, and I think personally it's one of my second favorites because it uses a unique shield that in case you run into, I guess, a lot of enemies, I believe, you start to pan away from them by using the shield. It's kind of like a go-to whenever you don't feel like, I guess, dying or withstanding any damage. And it actually serves as a plus because you actually get to shoot through the shield. The secondary weapon, which I find unique, is an artillery sentry gun, which is something that the person carries, and it gives you 200 plus health, which if you not have noticed, when your character is standing in a certain position, it locks out of third person view and it looks like 3.5 person view, which separates the character itself, and it creates a circle around it. And what that circle means is that anybody who's around that particular circle, it's like a force barrier. It's like the officer trait, where if you pretty much align it perfectly, depending on like how many people are around you, or depending on how many of your allies are around you, it actually adds 10% more damage. Some of this stuff people don't realize in this beta because of the fact that it's a beta. A lot of stuff is obviously going to be broken, which we will get to that too. One of the things that you have to pretty much understand as well is how good the officer class is. The officer class has a specific class that pretty much pertains into pistols and I guess being the shield of the team. One of the biggest things I like about the officer class is the turrets and the Bacta. If you guys didn't know what Bacta meant, Bacta is actually an ornament that was used in the first Battlefront, the previous Battlefront, that actually gave your teammates health. Except in this one, it actually gives your entire team health, depending on how close you really are to them. Um, the disadvantages about the officer class is that the officer class, if there's too many people around them, it's kind of difficult for you to use your pistol. Even though the pistol in this beta is pretty much OP, pertains to a lot of the weapons that are used in this beta. What is OP in this game? Well, from what I am understanding, the gun that I'm using with the 3-burst shot is OP. The only disadvantage is that it overheats too fast, as opposed to the other individual classes. The shotgun classes, the shotgun class or the shotgun secondary, as I would say, correction, is OP in its own ways. The E4 is OP in its own way. So, you know, it's a beta. You're not gonna really expect that much. So, getting back to the video, what I wanted to tell you guys is that if you were expecting any pro gameplay, I'm very sorry. This was literally my first time even touching the game, literally my first game of the day, and I wanted you guys to understand that, you know, for my first day, I didn't do too bad, but I was trying to understand, and I was under the impression that I was gonna do too good, and I guess, you know, as you can see, I did a decent job and whatnot. But getting back to the modes, so we got Galactic Conquest, which is a 20v20 game mode, which is pretty unique. You can use weapons and whatnot. On top of that, we got Strike. Strike is the game mode that I'm playing, which is a 10v10. It's a very unique game mode. It's I think it's the most played. And a space battle playlist, which a lot of people from other previous Battlefronts they've enjoyed so much, and I guess it's a fan favorite, and that's a new addition that they put into the game. What is new that they added into the game? What I wanted to talk to you guys about is the point system in the game. You guys remembered how in the previous Battlefront you had to get a certain upgrade in order for you, or I guess a certain hero pickup in order for you to get a hero. That's not the case anymore. Now it's all relied on how many kills you get or how many points you get to unlock these heroes mid-game. Is this something similar to Battlefront 2? No, because particularly speaking, you would have to get a certain amount of kills and you would be able to get the hero pickup. And they also got certain classes, which is pretty much similar to Star Wars Battlefront 2, but a yes and no type of feature, which is the Jet Trooper class and some incineration classes that they add in there. Each era has unique soldiers and unique abilities, and the things that they added new in this game are those in which I said before, and the new game modes and adding new vehicles and whatnot. Do I like the beta? And do I recommend this game to you guys? Personally speaking, the beta is it's great. For what EA really was trying to get out there, and I believe that they gotten past their failures, which is half of the reason why it's gathered my attention. But one of my biggest complaints about this beta is how broken and how some of the glitches that I wanted to talk to you about. You guys are gonna notice in Naboo and in this map in particular, there's a glitch that if they shock you with one of the grenades, you stay still. Depending, it's very random. Then in Naboo, there's a crack on the floor that if you don't roll out of it, you can stay there for the rest of the game until you respawn again. It doesn't seem like much of a headache, but it's a very bad thing that they added into the game to stop people from I guess realizing it. But yeah, that's pretty much my only complaints. Other than that, I totally recommend this game. I totally recommend people playing the beta. The beta does close the 9th, so I'm gonna try and gather as many clips as possible to be able to give you guys what you want in terms of content. and in terms of what you guys need to know and what is going to be added into the game. Um, but just to let you guys know that this is literally 50% on what they added into the game compared to, you know, the rest of the 50%. And I believe that they will have more and more weapons as the game progresses. But another thing that I wanted to, you know, add in, I didn't want to leave out, is the it came into my head because oh yes, the cards. Now there isn't the cards are special abilities that are given to certain classes that enhances your soldier's abilities or enhances the class's abilities. For example, specialist has a class where it gives them a stealth ability. Heavy has a class that it gives them more health. Officer has a class that it adds more health into their opponents or like their allies, correction. And it's just different abilities that they added into the game. And honestly, it's a very nice thing that they added into the game, and it's something that I was actually asking EA for, and I think that, you know, a lot of people are gonna enjoy it. I would actually rate this beta or rate this game particularly a 8.5 out of 10 because of the fact that it's still in its beta like stages, as you can see. Well, this is the beta, so unless it's the full game, I could give my full opinion about it. But that's just something that I'm gonna leave for, you know, when the game actually fully comes out. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this gameplay, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm looking forward to putting more videos out for Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta before it ends. Thank you guys, and saying on. Bye.